I
Yes,
pulled up the
yes.
chat first because I figured somebody's going to be in the chat in the next couple of seconds to see who says first hello. But you know what? Actually, nobody is saying hello. Today we are calling an audible. Today is actually going to be Mayhem Monday because we never did Mayhem Monday yesterday. We are going to pick the topic live on air. To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly. No, I think Houston, we might have a problem here this morning, brother. Oh, there we go. Oh,
Oh,
James is the champ
we,
today.
we,
James, and he came out
no,
with not only a hello, but a good morning, y'all.
hold
Yeah,
on. You don't have on your side. So I actually show on my side. Jeff and Lisa both came in right at 9 o'clock and 38 seconds on the
no.
dot.
Oh, there we go. LOL Tuesday. No, I don't see any. I don't see
Oh,
Jeff
really?
or
Oh, see,
Lisa.
I think
Interesting. What
so.
channel are they on?
They're on yours, but I
No.
think
Like on LinkedIn or on?
yes, both LinkedIn.
Ah,
But I
no,
think that I think
I've got James that said good morning. I got Damon, good morning, brother, and I got Lisa that said LOL Tuesday.
Yes. Yeah, she actually said it, and she probably would have beat Jeff if she left out the Happy Monday. She did Happy Monday, good morning, and then she was like, shit. So
Daniel Wood, Daniel, how are you, brother? Good to
good
see you here.
job,
Good to
y'all.
see you here.
Hey, Dan, I
So
figured it
Lisa's
out
calling it
too.
a tie.
Dan, there's a delay when we go live on LinkedIn. So the notification, guys, you get it about 28 seconds after we actually go live. So
Ah, okay. Look at you, techie guy. Okay,
hey,
so yesterday, DJ, we for Mayhem Monday, we typically pick the topic on air, and we got into all sorts of cool conversation
yes,
yesterday.
we did. Yesterday was good. And we just we didn't get to
Brother,
pick a
that's why
topic.
we say the conversation takes on a mind of its own, right? It gets going and it gets going. So today, figured we'd Hayden had a few issues, couldn't be here today, so we figured
That's
we'd
okay.
pick the topic live on air for you today and kind of do a Mayhem Monday on Tuesday. Because if I don't know about y'all, but yesterday was quite a day. When the first day when you get back from vacation, and I was just telling DJ off air have so if there's a system that any of y'all work with where you
Yeah.
can sync every single device that people get, and what I'm meaning by this is, so I'm an Apple guy, I'm a Mac guy, and people that are on Outlook and stuff say they can't get my invites. Like it either goes to their junk folder when it doesn't populate in their calendar. And I guess that's the whole, Mac PC war that's
Yep.
unfortunately still going on in today's day and age. It makes zero sense because you can load all
Exactly.
Microsoft documents on
Listen,
a Mac.
listen, just talk to each other. Let it all work. People have
Yeah,
their own
well, you know
choices.
what? Let us work. Like, let us work with the systems we want to work with. But
Yeah.
so yesterday and through my holiday, I had meetings and I'm working off of not my main calendar, which is on my desktop,
Yep.
but I'm working off my laptop and everything. And I thought I had things synced. And I wake up yesterday morning after traveling all night, getting home at like 3:15, trying to get to bed, wake up in the morning and you're trying to put your calendar together for the day, right? And already you're like doing one of these, you got like vacation fog setting in, and I realized I had like 3 extra hour appointments that weren't synced in my calendar when I was away. Like
Oh
I knew I
no.
had a meeting with Damon. I knew I had a meeting with the bank. I knew I had meetings with lawyers. I knew those ones. I knew I had Lisa and Chad. We had our meeting, but there was 3 other ones in there, DJ, that I didn't account for. And
Mm,
it's like, it's, and for me, it was one of these things where, Monday after the show. So by the time we finished the show and by the time you and I finished our chat after and our catch up, it was
yep.
almost 10 o'clock.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I was
I,
running
I'm
too.
actually, I was like, I didn't feel right canceling on the meetings I had, if that makes sense. It's too late. Like I should have
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
on top of it. And so, I just felt like there was so much to pack into a short period of time. And then
Mm,
there was no buffer time. Like, right. There was, I mean, even Damon and I had a 1 o'clock and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be, I might be 15 minutes late. And he's like, okay, just, and it's like, to me, I dislike those days because it's too much going on, but don't get me wrong. I love a lot happening, but
yeah.
it's that frantic kind of Did
Yes.
everything get accomplished in each of the meetings, and was the intent there, and was there, and I think in those days, have you ever had that where you just sometimes you lose the intent
Dude,
of
it's
what?
it's so crazy you're talking about this. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I literally was thinking to myself, like, I keep stacking appointments right on top of each other. Should I make a little buffer window? Does
Mhm.
anybody? I was actually going to ask you, do
Always
you make a little buffer window? Because
100%.
I think I need like a 15-minute, 20-minute like window in between because yeah, you just if it goes over or if there's things you need to do, like the next thing you know, you got another meeting and shit.
Mhm. I
You're like,
started with 15 minutes. I'm actually at 30 minutes now
okay,
between meetings. And if I don't need it, I just use it for something else. So like
yeah,
I've got like
yes,
in my
yeah,
agenda, I've got my
that's what I was going
top
to do.
goals and priorities, and then I got things I absolutely must do. And what I kind of do is I start doing Jenga. Like
Yeah,
I start
yeah,
playing Tetris in
pulling from the
between
list. Yeah,
meetings.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, not playing Tetris. So don't get me wrong. I'm playing Tetris with chores,
yeah.
right? And for me, it's the only. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm up to 30. I might even go to 45
Jeff,
because
Jeff
some
said Jeff
meetings.
said 15. I was going to start with 15 actually, Jeff. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to start with 15 because a half hour I think I might get. That might cut. I don't know. Yeah, I got to play with it. But yes, I'm so glad you brought it up. I'm
more
so glad.
dignified. The reason I stopped using 15 was because if I had something go over by 10 minutes, like if
Then you're cramming in.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, every person's daily agenda will be different,
Mhm.
right? If
Of course.
you have salespeople that have problems and you're trying to work through a solution,
Yep.
sometimes you can't just cut it off even at 15 because
Exactly.
the goal
That,
is
and
to
that's what
help
I
the
and that's why
salesperson.
I was battling with it in my head, like 15:30, 15:30,
Mhm.
because it's
But
yeah,
start with 15. I mean, if you get
yeah,
easily distracted, right? Like, and if you're, and don't forget, DJ, you need free time in there.
yeah,
Like, in
yeah,
whatever that is, whether it's 30 minutes here to literally sit there and close your eyes
yep.
and meditate, or 30 minutes where you say, I don't know
Which is
what I'm going to do in that 30 minutes. But if somebody says, hey, you got a free 30 minutes, you're like, no, because it's your time. That's very
yeah,
important. And we don't put that in our
I
schedules, right? And
agree. I
the second
agree.
thing from a high performance perspective, and there's been a ton of studies on this, is no task over 50 minutes. Meaning if you're involved in something for 50 minutes, get up, walk away, grab a drink of water, just kind of just refresh the head and go back to it. And it's been proven on
That
numerous high performance studies. 50 minutes is like the key. It's the
we're
metric
you
where,
you got to tell. We got to figure out where I'm gonna have to look that up because
oh yeah,
I
I'll bring
believe
the
you
stats and everything.
100% because I feel that last 10 minutes when you're doing a
Mhm,
call window, an hour call window, call block, whatever you want to call it, that last 10 minutes you start looking at the
mhm,
clock. And I
mhm,
always wondered because I always call myself like,
mhm,
don't look. It's kind of like if anybody's works out, anybody running treadmill or stuff, you cover the time, cover the miles with your towel so you're not staring at it the whole time.
mhm,
I
mhm.
tried to do that with the clock when I'm doing my hour call sessions. You know, when I was
Well,
making the
no,
calls
you
and
could
stuff.
do so you could go beyond, but what they say is that mental reset
Yeah,
actually adds more fire, more emphasis to what you're doing. So, for
right.
example, like everything I block out, if I block out an hour block for something, even if I'm sitting at the 50-minute or 40-minute mark, I'll stand,
Uh,
right? Or if I'm standing, I'll sit, and that kind of thing. So it's like it's the
to move
activity
it.
that
I
you
got
get going, and I mean, listen, there's been days I put my head down and 4 hours later I look up. Don't get me wrong,
you.
right? We
Yeah,
all do it,
yeah,
and it's
oh, yeah,
just what it is. But they're saying that like prime thing is that first 50 minutes, kind of like going to the gym, right?
yeah,
As an
yeah.
adult going to the gym, your natural body testosterone typically lasts for 45 minutes or somewhere around there. You see people that go to the gym for like 3 hours. You're going to socialize. You're not going to work out, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I when I was bodybuilding, I used to look at the people that were there, and I'd go twice a day to the gym. I'd go in the morning for my cardio, and I'd go in the afternoon for my workout. And I'd like, as I was leaving in the morning, people would be going in and they'd still be there when I got there for my afternoon session. I'm like,
Oh my
dude, you
god.
don't have one bead of sweat on you. You know what I mean? Like, you're going for the entertainment value. You're not going to work out. But it's yeah, it's like trying to keep those 45 to 50-minute blocks in your day is a really good way to stay at that peak performance as an individual. So like when I would sell, I would book my 3 hours or 2 hour block of selling. But at the 45-minute mark, I'd get up, I'd go get a drink of water, I'd come
Yeah.
back, I'd reset, I'd reinitiate
Sure.
my intentions, and I'd start selling again. Right. So
Yes, sir.
and it could just be a minute. Like it could be a minute or two. It's just that reset. Right. Like even when I write, when I'm creating sequences, when I'm building websites, when I'm designing, when I'm doing video editing, 50 minutes. I'll get up, I'll go get a drink of water, I'll go grab another coffee, and I'll come back.
Yeah.
Just a
Ah,
little
I like it.
helpful tip for you, brother.
I like it. Nerf said you're talented, Dan.
Nerf, I'm talented. Nerf, you're talented, brother. Hold on just a sec. Just in case meetings roll over, you need to readjust.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
100%. Nerf says it can play Tetris, Jenga, and still talk about sales and logistics while vacation returns and cake outs. Nerf, you're awesome, brother. I don't care what DJ
Yeah.
says.
Hey.
Try ever try Pomodoro technique? You can change
Oh,
it the times, but it's 45 minutes work, 15-minute rests, and back to work. I frame most of my day around it. Yeah, it's great.
bingo.
I mean, how much more?
Love it,
So,
Dan.
James, here's my question for you: when you do that, how much more energy do you have at the end of the day? Right? Because
Well,
it's these transitions that we make in our day that actually consume our energy. Like if you look at the human body, and this is one big concept that Bob Proctor talked about for ages, right? Where our body has so much energy locked up inside us, we can literally like ignite an entire city for like 4 days. Like the
yes.
amount of output that we have
Yeah.
as it from an energy perspective. And you know, when we overdo it and at the end of the day we're like, "Oh my god, I'm beat up." It's because we didn't transition well and we overdid that 45-50 minute mark. It really is because that's where most of our energy gets sucked out. Right?
Yep.
Like our creativity, everything that we talk about DJ on this show that gives us energy. Like as a salesperson, we're creative people. When we
Have to
look
be.
at the core of what sales is, it's creativity. Here's a problem, let's come up with a solution. Here's a no, let's create an opportunity for a yes. This is
Yep.
all about being creative and creatively thinking on the fly while we're on the phone. After that 45-50 minute mark, we tend to go downhill,
Mm.
right? And even
Pay
that
attention to
15
that.
minutes, yeah, I
I
mean,
agree.
even
I
that
agree with
15
that.
minutes makes a world of difference. So, James, tell us because I'm very interested in this. Before you started to now, do you find you have more energy not only throughout the day, but at the end of the day? There's the
Mhm.
big question. So,
Love it. Let's pick the topic.
ready?
Yes.
All right.
Stop. Oh, stop. Yes.
Okay. I don't know
Uh,
if well, I don't think we've talked about this. Practice versus play. Okay.
oh.
Taking a page in the top 1% of athletes. This is such a good one. Oh my gosh. So let me ask you this, DJ.
Uh,
And and well, you're always honest, so I don't have to say be honest. You ever have that where somebody says, "Let me be honest with you," and the first thing in my head is Zig
are you
Ziglar. He goes,
lying to me the rest of the time?
"Yeah, Zig, you remember
I
that from
learned
Zig
that a
Ziglar?"
long time
Zig
ago. I
Ziglar
still
says,
try not
"Yeah,
to say
y'all
it, but
saying
I
that
still
you're going
say
to be honest now. Does that mean you've been lying the whole time?" And that was a really horrible Zig accent, but you guys all know what I'm saying.
it.
So practice versus play. Okay. Dear friend Marcus Ogden, ex NFL athlete,
Yes,
now
sir.
one of the greatest speakers that is going to grace the stages of our time. You know, he says, Dan, we play once a week. We practiced almost every day. And think about that for a second, right? Then you go back. If you had one moment, one opportunity,
Uh-oh,
good
here it
old
comes.
Eminem,
Eminem.
would you capture it or let it slip?
That's
And
right.
when we look at high performance in sales, operations, closing deals, being the person your customers go to, I, how many times do we often reference it to Olympic athletes or professional athletes, right?
Yep.
Practice, practice, practice so you can play to perfection, right? Like if you go into any military setting, they practice like their life matters because
Yeah.
it does in the real setting,
Yep.
right? Do you or did you ever practice more than you actually sold?
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, in a lot of careers. Actually, so the in-home sales game, I will say, so doing ADT in the in-home sales game, had our regional shout out Morgan, smart dude, really determined, really dedicated guy, and he brought up something. about practice, and he called it not practice but perfect practice. Practice perfect because of he had the martial arts background, and because martial arts, it's one thing that they practice is not just practice but perfect practice,
Hmm.
so that you're literally like it's game moment, like it's. And I was always one of those. I was one of those that most players hated if you were on my team, because practice was like a real game. Everything was like a real game, but yeah, it's just some people are that way, and some people just see it as practice. But
Hmm.
yeah, I just
Okay, so in logistics, when you were selling, what were some of the things you practiced when it came to your sales?
role play. Role play is the biggest thing.
Hmm.
It's the hardest thing for everybody to practice. It's so embarrassing, annoying, all of these things. It's scary too. You feel like you're getting judged by but you gotta understand that the person judging you, they know exactly what you're supposed to say too, but you're helping each other. So if you can nail it, and that was the thing, Morgan, we would here's how. And from, again, shout out Morgan, but from ADT days, I believed it so well because his team was just so good. And when you practice that way, your responses are, you know the rebuttals, you know the objections. You could just bow, and you're just coming out, and it's so smooth, it's so effortless, it's automatic. It's, like they say in the pros. I mean, you take enough, you take 1,000 shots every day, like Kobe was after games, before games, stuff like that. You're gonna make a lot more. It just
Hmm.
becomes more. It's routine. It's habit. It's just building those habits.
So I just realized two things. I never changed the title or any of this stuff for today's show. So we're actually broadcasting as Mayhem Monday right now,
Oh my
which I was
goodness.
wondering why people were saying, yeah, laugh out loud, Mayhem Monday on Tuesday. And I didn't get it until now. So I apologize, everybody. That's how slow I am these days. But
He's still on vacation, y'all. He's still on
you know
vacation.
what? Like I'm actually laughing at myself inside right now. It's
No,
hilarious.
no, it's all right.
Um, for 24 years, never practiced.
Mm,
Didn't see the reasoning to. I've been a sports guy my whole life. Like I was a bodybuilder when I was younger. So you practice every day, twice a day to be on stage twice a year, right? When
yes.
you think about it,
Yep.
Olympic athletes practice for 4 years for the Olympic Games. Now, is there qualifying in there to get to the Olympics? Absolutely. But the big show is the Olympics. Everything is a lead up to that. Um, Never did I apply this for probably the first 2 decades to probably closer to 2.5 decades of my career. But I'll tell you, the last kind of 6 years that I applied it, 7 years of my career were probably more prosperous than the first 20.
Yeah.
Like in 6 years, no joke, hands down. And that practice became everything. I mean, I'm talking looking at myself in the mirror, you doing the whole spiel in the mirror, and then oh, you said that. Oh, okay. And like you're having literally this full-fledged 30-minute conversation with yourself in the mirror on my way to work, recording my phone
Yep.
calls. And for all of you that I recorded and didn't tell you I recorded, I apologize. But recording my phone calls, like
Yeah.
there was many times I would just always call on Skype, and I had call recorder for Ecamm call recorder, and I would just record all the calls, and I'd go back and listen to them. And it's some of the most painful,
Yeah.
painful thing you've ever
I hated
done.
listening to myself. I still hate listening to myself back because I'm like, what were you thinking? You're an idiot. Why did you say that? But like, yeah, you don't know, or how many times you say a certain word. If you're saying all the time, if you're one of those, yeah, whatever it is. But yeah,
Have you ever noticed how many times I say a?
yeah, yeah. Well,
You
hey,
have, yeah.
that's a
So
that's a Cana- but
I
that's a
remember being
Canadian
with.
thing, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I remember being with a customer on a golf course in Jersey, and we were sitting on the putting green, just practicing, and we're about 30 minutes in. We were hitting some balls, kind of going back and forth, going to clubhouse, having a drink, and he looks at me and he says, "Do you realize how much you say a?" I go, "I do not." He goes, "Dude, if I were to record you, it would be crazy because we say certain things, we don't even know we're saying it." Right? The
Yeah,
hums, the ahs, the all that. I mean, listen, there's no doubt about it. Silence in a sales call is good,
yeah.
right? Salespeople, we hate silence, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
good. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. But we feel on these calls. So this practice session. So you did role playing, okay?
yes,
So
yeah.
what else did you do with your team? Did you do like the whole I'll call you, I'll pick up the phone and dial your extension and call you and listen in? Or did you ever listen in on other people's calls and kind of do like a back and forth and hey, I like this, I didn't like this. Have you ever tried this? Did you ever do any of
Yeah,
that
so we
where
would
it's
we would do
constructive?
that obviously during the training and stuff, and starting at the big brokerage house. I was in the office setting at that point, so yeah, sitting next to and listening to the other guys, or I would just even if it wasn't, hey, let's do this, I'm just listening. And then listening to my calls. Every call was recorded. I think most brokerages do that, but so I could just ask the regional for the calls. So I just would always get them sent to me and just listen, even though I hate hearing
So
myself.
you mean
I would,
corporately the call was recorded?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Really?
They recorded
Like
every
your
call,
side or the entire conversation?
entire conversation.
Interesting. I didn't think that was legal, but
Yeah,
like I always thought you had to um
you have to
notify
say
somebody.
it, or yeah, you have to say it's being recorded or something, right? I think you only technically have to do that if you're going to use it in court against somebody. Um,
Oh, okay, okay, and
and
maybe
so
that's why it's being recorded for customer service and
yeah,
quality of
just service.
purposes.
Yeah, service quality, all that stuff, and they get away with it by saying that this your call is being recorded for service and quality. But
Yeah, just in case you call back later and say I wanted this, and they say no, you didn't.
no, no,
Yeah, but there's been numerous times I've been like, go back to the recording. They're like, what do you mean? Go back to the recording. You'll hear what I said. So, so here's kind of some three things I wrote down when it comes to practice versus play, taking a page from top 1% of athletes. Okay,
Mm,
so the time spent on themselves, right? So if we take a page from the top athletes in the world, right? LeBron James is probably the one that's been in the media the most about what he does, the
oh yeah,
amount of money he spends
amount
on
of money he
himself.
spends on himself. Yeah,
Yeah, himself, his coaching, his training, his mentors, his all these kind of things, right?
his body, his health,
That's
everything.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even like I think his massages after practices and like just to maintain that peak performance, right? You look
hmm
at guys like Kevin Hart, you look at guys like Tony Robbins. You like Tony Robbins travels with one of the best physical trainers on the planet. Like travels with this guy, and he travels with like pretty much a full gym with him. Because
yeah,
I don't know if you know, but Tony Robbins owns specific gym equipment. Like he's
yeah.
actually an owner of this company where it's like this resistance versus something. I mean, it's a really odd thing. But he goes, like I don't have very much time. He goes, so I need to get like a 40-minute workout done in 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
that's what these machines do. Is they're just like
Yep.
so intense, but so travels that you look at Kevin Hart, you look at like the whole ice bath things, right?
Yes.
How these performers are on stage and even just comedians on stage, the amount of energy that they're displacing and just shooting out is crazy. And then they go in and they do like these ice baths to recover and all this, right? So
Have you done an ice bath ever? You ever
I
done it?
haven't, I've done showers. So me, I find if I'm ever, I'm finding if I'm kind of like, if the energy level is low,
Hmm
or if I find my mindset isn't right, I'll when I have a shower, it'll be cold.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll start it hot. Don't get me wrong. I don't
I
just
like
jump
that.
in and then I
No,
kind
no.
of turn it cold
Wake you up.
because I find it just wakes up pieces of my body that I
Oh
weren't
yeah.
awake before. And it just like resets me, you're like charged, ready to go.
Yes.
Um, but that that self, right? Because again, we're selling, right? Oh, we got to get the client. We got to get the client. We got to get the client. We got to get the business. What about
Yep.
self?
Yeah.
I need to take 10 minutes to stretch my mind out, to stretch my body out. I need, this is the whole 50 minute thing. 10 minutes, stretch your body out, like reassess, release and reset your intentions, right? Like all
Yeah.
of these things for our energy. And that becomes a big question. I think as we get further on in our career and life. Like I think in our 20s, we don't really think of it because we got sparks flying out our arse for like
Oh yeah.
23
We're
hours out of
yeah.
24 and we can
Yeah.
sleep for
We're
two
we're
two
revving the
hours and
whole
we're going. Yeah. But
time.
as we it's kind of like so when I first started playing hockey, I just put on my skates and go. Now I think I spend more time stretching than I actually spend playing.
If you do, I spent. That's so funny you said that. So just started waking up early, working out again, and I think I spend more time stretching than doing anything else because I know it's gonna hurt, and and also I know I will need an ice bath. I've done ice baths. Let me tell you, they're the most amazing thing. If your body is aching, ooh, you'll feel great the next day. I can
Yeah.
almost guarantee
Yeah.
you. It's crazy.
So you're hilarious, brother. I love it. So the question becomes for all of you: how much are you spending on yourself? Time, energy, effort, restoration, relaxation, family, all of this stuff that matters in our daily life. And ask yourself, how much are you spending on yourself? Like, do you have a way to wake your mind up and become the best version of yourself every day? Do you have a way to do that in the morning? Do you take the time throughout the day for yourself to reinvigorate, to re-energize, to reproduce, like redo that?
Yeah.
Then the second one I wrote down is the desire to be the best we can be. I
Mhm.
think when we take a page from every top athlete, um, they're the best they can be, and they want to be the best they can be. And it's funny because if you're a Jacko Wilnick fan, right, or Wilnick or Wilnick,
Williams?
Wilnick.
Is it
Okay,
Williams?
so Jacko says, he says, the one thing, if you notice when it comes to a Navy SEAL, is that whole they're never out of the fight.
Mhm.
And he says one Navy SEAL thinks he can take on 300 people easily.
Oh,
And it's funny
100%.
because if you go back and you look at, the American snipers, the lone survivors, like the movies that actually come from the Navy SEALs that were involved in that action,
Yeah.
being on set and saying no. Like if you look at just so Lone Survivor, for example,
Love that
if
movie.
you if amazing movie, but if you take Lone Survivor, do you know the actors shot guns almost 1,000,000 rounds, and they trained for like 9 months for
Holy
those
cow.
parts? Because what they said is, they said, listen, if you're going to reenact, and like we're talking, Marcus Luttrell was one of the big guys on scene the whole time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said, and he's been on Joe Rogan saying, he goes, listen, my thing was, if you're going to reenact this, you got to act like us. You got to walk like us. Like, this is
Yeah.
no bullshit. We're not kidding around here. This is real deal. And I
Yeah.
remember interview with Mark Wahlberg. He said it was the training just to do the movie was like one of the most intense things he's ever done in his life. Like he says, these guys are intense dudes.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
they are no joking. Like,
Oh
even to the
yeah.
point where it's like, no, you're not here. You're here. Move it 3 inches or else the scene's not happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you think about that, the practice for the actual game time, because you can't be off. And when you think about that, the desire to be the
Yes.
best. See, I truly believe, DJ, and I'd love your thoughts, and everybody watching and listening, please share. That desire to be the best is one of the biggest driving factors you can ever have in your career. Like the desire to serve customers at a higher level, the desire to say, when you become my customer, I am going to deliver, 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 deliver. Like, that is huge. That
Hmm.
is huge. And that's the one of the biggest driving forces to even have us not procrastinate, to pick up the phone, to sell, to get up early, like you just said. Like, your desire to get up early is because there's a feeling at the end that you want,
Yeah.
and you get it. So you
Yep.
get up early to get it. Some people, that feeling is sleeping in. I want the extra hour sleep. That's the feeling I want. Some people, the feeling is, I'm not going to pick up the phone because I don't want that feeling of failure. I
Don't-
want the feeling of
Yes.
of I'll watch a YouTube video and get the dopamine drip because, oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
motivating. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts there, DJ?
Oh no, I mean, you nailed it with just the whole practice side of things. I mean, with bringing up the Navy SEALs. I mean, those guys, to make it to that level in that, you have to live, breathe, eat, sleep, like he's saying, to even be looking at these huge name Mark Wahlbergs and these actors and say, no, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it this way. I mean, that's they only got to that point. I mean, we could BS ourselves all we want, but to get to those levels, to get to the Michael Jordan level, to get to the Kobe level, to get to Navy SEAL level, you can't, there's not so much time off.
Hmm.
Practice has to be perfect, and it's all the time.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think you
And
nailed it
also,
with
I
that.
think it was, I think who was it? It was forget who it was. It'll come to me. But there was also somebody had said, like, if you look at any major athlete, they're not just in their sport. They're a
Mhm.
master of nutrition. They're a master of health. They're a master of exercise. They're a master of contract negotiation. Like they have many other pieces of the puzzle that they operate in. It's like us as salespeople. We're not just salespeople. We're negotiators. We're operators. We're all of the above. We are customer service reps. We are everything, as well as sales. If you're an operations person, you're not just an operations person. You're a salesperson. You're a master of completion. Like there's all these other things that we have to master, right? And every one of it,
Yep.
every one of these things, whether it be professional athlete or other salespeople, if we don't master the energy part, we will lose. Because we could have all these desires, and if our energy does not keep up with the desires, we will create excuses to stop going.
Yes.
Right, 100%. And then the last one that I have written down here, and I think this is, I think it all kind of leads into this, and I know we're about to run over on time. Outwork everyone else. And you know, DJ, when it comes to outwork everyone else, I'm not going to say outwork on phone calls, just outwork. You know, like be that one that creates that really cool new opportunity for customers. That's outworking the competition, right? It's not just you made 50 calls, I'm going to make 60. That's how I'm going to outwork you. That's not what it
Mark
is.
Cuban, I don't know exactly his words, but he said it best. He said, even if I'm number one, I'm going to work like I'm number two because you got guys like me coming after your ass and we're going to beat you. And that's literally, that's what you have to do. I mean, you have to.
Oh, here's a good one. Jeff says always made at the level athletes understand 100%. They're all over it. Damon says, be the best you can face, so you can face yourself in the mirror. 100%. You know how many people don't look in the mirror because of that, Damon? Because they know they've let the day slip by. They've let opportunities slip by. We go back. We talk a lot about Eminem. You know what? I'm going to try and reach out and see if we can get him on the show.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right? Why not? Sure. Why not? Let's just do it. It is. If you have one chance, one opportunity, are you going to seize it or are you going to let it slip? And we have these opportunities many times a day. Are we going to seize it or are we going to let it slip?
That's right.
Love it. DJ, what do we got, brother? What quote did you get for today for the Mayhem Monday? That's actually a Tuesday.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm going to have to change all of this for the replay.
This is a vacation week, y'all. Come back
No. That was last week, brother. That was last week.
We're just going to say it, but back from vacation. Look, we got to get back in the mode. No, so thank you guys, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as every morning with us. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 9:30. We're hitting it pretty close, pretty good these weeks. Got a Jeff Patterson. Hey, he said, great quote, Damon. I love it.
Yeah.
But thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us like you do every day. Tomorrow we got Triple D Day. Got Dean, the
Triple
mad
D
scientist of logistics data here, so don't miss it.
And you know what? Don't miss tomorrow because we are. There is. I don't want to give it away, but tomorrow will be one of the most educational shows you've ever seen. So just let's leave it at that because with the data we're going to bring to you and what we're going to talk about is just going to be insane.
I can't wait, y'all. So make sure to join us tomorrow, especially if you're in this field and you want to know what's going on. Dean's got the crystal ball. He will let us know. This quote comes from Unknown. I kind of like it, so maybe I own it. When you want different for yourself, you have to start moving different. Old keys don't unlock new doors.
Ooh. To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education.